Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the nice words. Thanks a lot for the invitation. Thanks a lot for Mind the Bridge to organize all that. Well, you now hear the bureaucrats' views. Yeah? Please tell me afterwards if we are completely wrong and off the track, but I'll give it a try. I'm very glad to see that there is so much interest on both sides of the Atlantic. Europe in the digital sphere, what can be done better. And well, simply to state that the new Commission, with President Juncker and his new team, put a lot of priority to the digital sphere. We need to do something about it. We need to develop, we need to become quicker in Europe as well. So the objective is to create a real digital single market in Europe, like we have for the German cars you can buy everywhere, or the French wine you get in all the stores from Estonia to Portugal. It's not the case in the digital sphere, and that's what we need to tackle. The digital single market should bring added value to the competitiveness. And what is not missing in any of the speech of neither the Commissioner nor the President, the contribution to jobs and growth. I have to say that. Alberto already mentioned it, it's fragmentation in Europe. We have everything 28 times. Take rules and legislations, take, for example, data protection. The rules are completely different or slightly different, but different enough to make life difficult. Take copyright, same thing. Taxation was already mentioned, VAT rates as well. And of course, business registration and so on. It's also a cultural thing. Languages. We have more than one language. We have a lot. And we have different attitudes throughout Europe. Take just the attitude towards personalized advertising. You will find completely different responses between North and South. Or take the French words. They have invented the word entrepreneur. But if you look at the surveys, the parents would like to see, in particular the girls, married not to entrepreneurs, but to lawyers or, well, excuse me, bureaucrats. So, the mindset is a result of all that. While in the US, it was mentioned before, it's one big single market, which is allowing a rapid expansion. Immediately, the courage to go to conquer the rest of America or the rest of the world. And indeed, in the internet world, you can scale up in a millisecond from day one. The EU has first to cover the different member states, has to face 28 regimes. And that is keeping us busy and is keeping the companies busy to make sure that they are complying with all these rules and with the bureaucracy. Somebody has called it a precautionary principle. True, we are too careful and too soft. If we want to unify the market, we need to really push for it. We need to address consumers, we need to address industry, and also startups, scale-ups. And what I see when I talk to the different stakeholders, unfortunately, the startups and the scale-ups are not very present on the stage of political decision-making. So they have to take care for the 28 regimes and are not voicing their concerns enough with the policymakers. We launched some months ago the Digital Single Market Strategy. It's an action plan with 16 actions, but it's a long journey. It's using different legal techniques, and it's using a different time frame. To be clear, not everything needs to be regulated. We are consulting, we are testing whether there is a real appetite and a need to do something. And we also talk about deregulation. So it's not the perception that we do everything to regulate for the sake of regulation. But when we regulate, we need to be quicker. If you look at European legislation from the very start, from the impact assessment, the proposals, the talks in the Parliament and the Council, that takes years. Far too long to react to technical development, and far too long if you compare it with the second generation of the iPhone already out during that period of time. There is a lot of reaction, but there is also a lot of perception, wrong perceptions, misunderstandings from the US side when looking what we are trying to do with our digital single market. There are quotes of creating Fortress Europe, techno-panic, or a nice metaphor, the iceberg. Yeah, what is written in our strategy is just a nice white top of the iceberg, while beneath the water you see the dark side of Europe. We want to address these concerns, and that is why the Commissioner comes to Silicon Valley and Washington, D.C. to talk about it, to discuss it. Let's be clear, we are not doing the digital single market against anyone. We love the internet too, and we need it. Our aim is to Europeanize, to overcome what I just described. The 28 regimes are not good enough. In the digital age, we need to have a bigger size, and the size is Europe. It's not about isolation. It would never work if Europe would try to isolate itself. But we need to simplify, and we need to create certain understanding in Europe that fragmentation and duplication is not the way forward. We need to increase our readiness, digital readiness. And there are simply the facts. Europe is open. If you look at the telecoms markets, everybody can invest. There are no obstacles, no barriers. Everybody can participate and benefit from our research funds. That is not the case in other regions of the world. And take, for example, the research centers of American companies on European soil. It's a great opportunity. Europe is lagging behind, that is clear. Over the past 15 years, Europe has lost competence and has lost a strong and leading position in ICT. If you look at the 15 or the biggest companies in ICT, you see just a few Europeans left, like SAP or Alcatel-Lucent, Ericsson. If you look at the World Economic Forum list of supercomputers, you see just one under the top 10, while the US has 50% of the top 500. We need to regain capacities and capabilities, and the startups play a crucial role there. Let me just outline a few areas where we push forward with our digital single market strategy. The first one is better access for consumers and businesses to goods and services in the digital sphere. To make e-commerce easier throughout Europe, to get rid of obstacles, to harmonize the rules, contract rules, for example. Get rid of unjustified geo-blocking, where there's a dividing line between the different member states. Discriminatory practices. Have a look at copyright. Get rid of the 28 regimes. It's very difficult. They're well placed. Some companies make a fortune out of that. But we need to get to a European stage. And of course, reduce the administrative burden in terms of VAT charging. Second pillar is the networks and innovative services. We need to clarify the telecom rules. We need to make it fit for purpose. Spectrum allocation in Europe is a nightmare. The regulator has no say on the European level, or almost no say. So also there, we need to strengthen it and to create a level playing field between the different players in the telecom sector. What we do, and which raised already concerns in the US, is our analysis of platforms. That is not something against platforms, but we want to see what happens. So the consultation asks for replies. Please reply. And under that pillar as well, cybersecurity. Trust and confidence to be reestablished is a must. Third pillar, and that is of particular importance for the industrial groundwork we have in Europe, how to match digital and classical industry, how to bring standards and interoperability to have machine-to-machine communication. Skills was mentioned as well, is one thing we need to look at on European level to make Europe fit for the digital challenge. You see, a lot of things need to be done in Europe to get ready for the digital age. We are committed to do that, and we are ready to cooperate. But we need a certain understanding, and I think the visit of the Commissioner might help in that sense. Thanks a lot.